For a change of pace, I want to talk about something important today. I want to talk about sledgehammer fights. That is, people fighting with sledgehammers. Now I'm going to show you two very good sledgehammer fights in a moment, but first I want to talk about one fight that I can't show you. There's a film from 1902 called A Fight with Sledgehammers, wherein two blacksmiths fight each other with sledgehammers. This movie is real. You can find its page on IMDb and references all across the web. However, it's a long-lost movie. Footage doesn't exist anymore, so I won't be able to show it to you, although I would love to. I would love to see it myself. What I can still show you, and will show you in a moment, is three fabulous hammer fights. Two are sledgehammer themed, and one will be a good old-fashioned carpenter's hammer. The first fight I want to show you comes from the bizarre and fabulous movie from 1984, Streets of Fire. This is a rock and roll musical. It has tons of faces you'd recognize: Diane Lane, Rick Moranis, Michael Paré, Bill Paxton, Willem Dafoe. The highlight of this movie to me is, of course, the sledgehammer fight. This is when an extremely terrifying Willem Dafoe, is there any other kind, fights Michael Paré with these weird sledgehammers. Let me tell you, if Willem Dafoe did not terrify you before, he will after this. This stuff is made of nightmares.
I got something special in mind. I brought him along just for you.
Sexy.
Nice, huh?
I do apologize for the quality of this recording. I did record it off a very old DVD. This movie is 30 years old. I highly recommend watching it. I know it probably sounds a little ridiculous, but it's a really good movie. It's definitely worth seeing. Man, Willem Dafoe's face is terrifying. It couldn't have been easy being that guy growing up. Look at that. Stuff of nightmares, I'm telling you, man. But very, very effective for instilling fear throughout this movie. And that's the fight. This next clip comes from a 2005 Jet Li movie called Unleashed. Now, objectively, this is not a good movie. The plot is ridiculous, the script is bad, and even Jet Li's acting is not great. What it does have, though, and what earns it a place in my heart, is some fabulous fight scenes. There's one fight scene where Jet Li is fighting this serrated machete-carrying, pajama-wearing weirdo in a tight little bathroom. It's one of my favorite fight scenes. It's really good. It's not what we're talking about today, so I'll stop getting excited and get back on track. There is a fight scene where Jet Li fights some people with a sledgehammer. And that's what I'm going to show you next. I have been accused of being the weapons guy. I did cut this fight a little bit to get into the important sledgehammer parts. It's a really good fight, though, if you watch the whole thing. I would recommend the movie just for these fights. Ugh. Why would you keep fighting? Now, I want to give an honorable mention, even though it is not a sledgehammer, to the Raid 2 for Hammer Girl. I love sledgehammers, but this fight is way too awesome. I can't skip over it. The next clip is pretty brutal, though, so if you are scandalized by violence and blood and gore and that sort of thing, I suggest that you skip over this. Also, why are you watching this video to begin with? So this fight is from the Raid 2, which is a movie out of Indonesia. This one and the Raid 1 are really, really good films in terms of fight scenes. They're extremely violent, but the choreography on the fight scenes is really great, and they have a lot of fighting styles that people who are familiar with Hollywood and Hong Kong action films might not be as familiar with. But very, very good. This one is worth it for Hammer Girl alone. There's also a really good karambit fight, but definitely not for the faint of heart or people who are squeamish. Hollywood, we need to talk. You need more sledgehammer fights. It is basically a crime that my list of clips to show only amounts to 2. There is no one, ever, who heard that a movie contained a sledgehammer fight and said, meh, that sounds boring. Ever! Regular hammer fights are a little more common. For example, in the Korean cult classic Old Boy, there's a very, very memorable hammer fight, but they're still disappointingly rare. What the fuck are you doing, movie makers of the world? In conclusion, cinema needs to get its shit together. Gunslinging is overdone. I've watched thousands of guys punch other guys in the face, yet my need for epic sledgehammer battles goes unsatisfied. Is this too much to ask? For now, it seems the answer is sadly yes. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you agree with me, because if you don't, why don't you like fun? And let me know in the comments what your favorite movie hammer fight is.